Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we're back to Lego Star Wars 3, The Clone Wars. So we finished the first story, and it was a pretty bad experience, and then I decided to take a nap. So let's move on to the next story. I guess that's all there is to say about that. So fresh, a new game is still lagging. Game has been sitting paused for at least 4 hours. And we're now, I guess, in the Count Dooku. I, at the very least, know who Count Dooku is, and know that he was at least somebody mentioned in the Star Wars Episode 3 movie, and he probably played a bigger part in the cartoon. I mean, this really has to be heavily borrowing from the cartoon. It might also be slightly borrowing from the extended universe of the book series, all of which have been now thrown out as being part of the convention with The Force Awakens, but some of it is getting re-put back in with the movie Rogue One. I think is kind of how they're going to do it. They're going to take what they like and keep it in, and they're going to throw out the things that aren't going to work with Disney's plans for the future. Not that much is really going to interfere with Disney's plans. Oh my goodness. And immediately we're back to one of these. You would have thought they would have figured a way to not have this happen, like right next to each other. We also have, by the way, I should point out the red brick detector on, and as best as I can see, there's no red bricks anywhere here. Now, I'm not going to say these are great or anything like this, but I will say, at the very least, this is going to be slightly easier to do because we're starting with 6 circles. And this thing seems to reload, and we have to destroy all enemy buildings. But I think it's actually more than just destroying all the enemy buildings. I think what we have to actually do is there you go. I think what we really have to do is see, it's droids versus clone troopers. I'm gonna need studs, and I guess this time we're not gonna need to build on the areas that we've seen before, because if we were gonna need to build in any of that, then that would be different. Well, and this is kind of easy, I guess. All I have to do here is destroy these things with the lightsaber, and I suppose that's as good of a way as to do it as any. I just kind of want to be done with this level already because I had such a bad time with the previous one. These concepts just don't work. They're just bad. And you could have taken this same area, chopped it up into smaller sections like you usually see in a Lego game, and just had us run through waves of enemies. That's all you really needed to do. Clearly you can see this is an example of an instance where they were working on a concept and a project manager failed miserably. That's all you can say. It also makes no sense whatsoever that these have life in the studs, because it's not like the game is over for me when I am down to 0 studs. Nothing like that happens at all. That's a strangely far distance for it to decide to reset me to. Let's run around this level a little bit before we go any further, because this is probably the entire level. Like, course, we'll have to come back here with the score multiplier and all of that, and play in free play mode. Seems like I can break this. Let's just go ahead and break this just to be certain. Just in case that is part of the path. We're not building anything on this one, it seems. But you could totally have just made this waves of enemies running from point A to point B, and there really didn't need to be much more. You could have had us walk down a sandy place. You can notice this is one of the main flaws of the ideas of Star Wars, is that the entire planets seem to be just one climate, which would not really support life or health at all. No plants, no life that, as far as we know it, would be able to survive in a world that only had one sustained climate all over itself. We need winter and fall and summer and spring, and not just for plants too. If we didn't have winter, like, fish wouldn't know when to spawn. If we didn't have winter, germs would spread out of control. That's why there's a flu season on Earth. It's because there's certain times during the year when the humans and other animals that are close to humans can have similar disease sicknesses, and then those ideal conditions of temperature change in different seasons, and then people have a better chance of surviving. This looks like something that we'd have to build. Everything is just force build in these Star Wars games. I guess we should test that out at some point and play as a non-Jedi character or Sith character and see if they actually build things without the Force. I assume they do. That looks like a Sith thing, so here we have another section we won't be able to access. Let's see, we might as well run around here. And what is the point of all these backup things? Like these areas over here that are spewing out soldiers that are pointless. They're not doing anything. And then the front of the screen should definitely be a wall, not a just drop off. This is just bad design. Like, what's ironic is I've done some preliminary testing for playing a different game called The Force Unleashed, which is a more for teenagers Star Wars based game. And the very first level, since the game is so old, really does have a similar style to what we would experience here if this was just a wave-based attack an area, attack a group of enemies game. I guess I can't find all the collectibles. Seems like the game has intentionally left a few uncollectible collectibles. So that was kind of a waste of time. Oh well. And what's the point of a shield that people can walk through? And oh, by the way, here's a whole group of stupid clone troopers, or stormtroopers. I think they're clone troopers. I don't think you get stormtroopers until episode 4 timeline. And they were just walking against the wall there. And this may be the whole level. Is just run up to these things and punch them. It won't kill you, don't worry. Go ahead and collect as many studs as you want. And they're shooting their lasers at the bottom of that ship, and it crashes. So is that supposed to be like the preliminary idea of a Death Star? Is just this flying round ship? That I guess technically there isn't a design that's a really small version of a Star Destroyer. So we get Kit Fisto, we get Ki Adi Munchi, who's just got a tall head, and I wouldn't be surprised if we go through this whole run of levels, and we don't actually unlock any character that has any special abilities. I think I may very well, whether I intended to or not, have played the correct way. At least it seems that way in the order of characters being unlocked. And because of that, I've gotten a Jedi, I've gotten Jar Jar Binks, I've gotten Commander Cody, which I think he's got slightly important ability, maybe. The systems here, like, we're not even going to deal with that for a while. I think it's just a sub menu to tell you that you've collected 100% on everything, which is, I suppose, maybe helpful compared to trying to go and look at each one of these sub menus here, where you have to see there's 10 collectibles. Notice, at least for now, it doesn't seem like there's a challenge mode. And see, we're just gonna go this way, and hopefully we will definitely have a regular menu, a regular level next time, because boy did I not enjoy these other ones. They might as well not be there. They might as well have just chopped some of them down to 5. And I'm sure it's just a negotiation thing where to get the Star Wars license they agreed to make a certain number of levels, and so they made a certain number of levels regardless of their quality, and that's just bad negotiation on this first set. I mean, it's hard to go into a negotiating table and say, look, we're going to make you a good game, and that's it. But that's really all they should negotiate for, instead of a certain number of levels or things, because then you're just contractually obliged, and they're going to give you lesser quality. And that's what we certainly got in those overworld real-time strategy things. They just don't work. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. Really short. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.